Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your bonus reading for the month of March for the elemental energy of water. Water covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, so all of our fishies out there. And when I do my bonus readings, I like to use the basic Celtic cross with a couple of little changes that I've made because it makes more sense to me, and that's how I tend to work with this one. And then we'll look at some oracle cards at the end. I am shuffling the deck right now to pull our cards for our reading. If you've never had your charts read and you're interested, there is a link in the description. It's not sponsored or anything fun like that, but it is for a basic natal chart, and it gives you your 12 houses with all little signs and symbols on it, and then there is 10 to 20 pages, depends on what all symbols are there, of a description of what that is, and that includes if there is any asteroids like Chiron or Vesta or any of the rest of them tied into it. So it's a pretty good way to get a baseline of who and what you are, and even the parts that you're like, ooh, I don't like that part, those are areas where you can look to improve. So it's kind of a fun way to just get an idea of some baselines. With that, we will get started here. Also, if you are more intuitive or you see something different with the cards, feel free to comment at what you are seeing or sensing. It's always interesting to hear what other people are bringing up because I read intuitively, so it's always fun to hear what other people have see or hear. So we're going to start you off, water. That's interesting. Your opposite. When this is your significator, this is you in a snapshot in this moment in time, and it's the Sire of Wands. You can see this almost as an apprentice of Wands. So you've completed one level of like book learning is what this could be, and you're getting ready to go into the practical application period. And this is where you know some things, but you're not the master. You're this little dude right down here. And you're going to a leader, the knight or the king or the queen, to request guidance or further knowledge. So in one sense, water, you're in a really interesting spot because you've gained a great deal of wisdom over the time that you've existed or been on this path of study, relationship, whatever it is, but now you're looking to level up. And so you're stepping into a new world. This is kind of like the Fool with some previous understanding. So you're in an interesting spot to start the month with because you do have some knowledge already, but you're looking to take what you have and take it to a deeper pace. So you have a lot of fire showing up here so far. The crossing card, which is your obstacle, a challenge, something that may need to have some of your attention applied to it to fix it, is the Two of Wands. And this is really saying that there's a pathway, a gateway ahead, so to speak, because twos, in the way I see them, tend to be the posts on a door, like you have to pass through this gateway. But it also could be a partnership or something along that lines that are not actually feeding you the way they used to. With the world there, it's also showing that this could be something that is distracting you from your spiritual pursuits. And that's where the dragon flying up here in the corner is like, dude, the world's just a thing, like it's fine, but didn't you have higher aspirations at one point? And the world could be something that is mundane, it's the safe, it's the comfortable, and then the dragon over here is like, dude, come on, let's go do something different. So you have this outside energy coming in with the Two of Wands saying there's more to what you are living than what you realize. But where you're currently at is so comfortable that you don't want to change, is the energy I'm getting with this one. And as a challenge card, that's that can be a little bit complicated because water tends to be one of the more movable signs of the elements, but when water decides that it's not going anywhere, it's a little more complicated to get it to move. And what I'm hearing with this is don't let yourself become stagnant just because of one thing. Allow yourself to see a bigger picture and then move accordingly, or stay where you're at because you realize, yeah, I saw the bigger picture, that's not quite where I'm going. So allow your intuition to guide you in that. Your higher self energy is the Six of Swords. This card basically is interpreted, if you look at the literal meaning, as returning from a battle victorious, which works, but I'm also getting that you are guiding someone else. So in the moment, you have the Sire of Wands. So you're the youngster that's trying to get more knowledge because you have some, but you want to expand. But your higher self is saying you also are guiding and protecting and teaching the next generation. So you're in a really interesting spot because you're seeking greater knowledge, but it's because you're showing others the gifts that you've already experienced. And so now you're starting to get that hunger yourself again. So the Six of Wands is saying you've returned from dealing with a situation with knowledge and experience where you've gained a great deal. And a lot of it with swords, we're talking air, we're talking knowledge, wisdom, cutting away illusions. So you've done a lot of this work, and that's what's allowing you to be the guide to help support and lead the next generation. So your higher self is saying, good job in your current pursuits, but now you're seeing why that's becoming important again, because now you're doing the same thing. You're mentoring the next one, and that's what's triggering your own desire to grow. Your shadow, this is interesting. Your shadow is number 16, the Tower. This is really calling you out a little bit, fire or water, because the Tower is creative destruction, meaning something has to be removed, destroyed, taken down for the next branch of your life, existence, path, journey to step forward. Whereas the Six of Swords is saying, you've been through this, now you're ready to move on. Your shadow is saying, you're not quite there yet. You've got some things of your own that you need to sort. Yes, you're guiding, you're showing, you're leading the charge, so to speak. And in the moment, you're seeking higher knowledge, which is great. But there's something blocking you, and that's what the Tower is bringing forward. Is there something that you have built up over time that is now calling for you not to move and not to leave and not to fill in the blank? But maybe that's not the best option, and that's where that clear seeing that your higher self's bringing in is so important. So when we look at this center column of your reading here, make sure I got them on the right order, your higher self is saying you've done that, you've got this, you've done this before, you're teaching the next generation, you have experience, you know how to cut away illusions and see the truth. Your current self, your significator, you in this moment, is saying, you know what, I've learned a great deal because you went through the 1 through 10 in the wands, and now you're getting ready to move into the next level, but you need some guidance. That's this little dude down here. And your shadow is saying, yep, you do need some guidance because there's some stuff in the way that needs to be cleared out. And what that is going to be different for each person. It could be some life lessons. It could be a person that has, attached, especially like coworkers are good for that. And sometimes your friends see you trying to grow, and that makes them uncomfortable because they're not ready for that yet. And so that may be one of those things where you may have to separate a little bit from that energy. So you have an interesting center with the higher self, current self, and shadow in that you're growing, you're expanding, but there's some things you need to work on before you can make that next leap. Your immediate history, so the last 1 month, 6 months, or a year, is the Two of Swords. And this is really about being overly protected. And in the last little bit, you have really held close. You've kept things to yourself. You have an intuitive guidance going on here with the sword, so it's water, air. And it's also, again, showing this gateway aspect. But you've been closed off, water, in the past. You didn't want others to know your moves. You don't want others to understand you at a deeper level, so you keep everything really surface. And that's really funny because Pisces is notorious for that. But all the water signs do this to a certain extent. And what I'm getting with this one is this was a way to bring you to the point where you can teach others. This was allowing you to develop more fully and allow you to step into a role of teacher but also student. So your history was keeping quiet because it was necessary for your own growth, and that's what's allowed your higher self and your shadow to be like, okay, you've done this, now it's time to continue to teach others, but also figure out what's going on in your personal life, because there's something going on with that Tower moment that your shadow's bringing up. Your immediate future, you have a lot of air and fire. This could be an interesting month for our water family. Is the Seven of Swords. This is one of those ones where you fought your battles. That's these guys. And so you know a great deal. That's you. You feel like there's some young upstart coming in to try to steal your thunder, so to speak. But remember, you still are able to keep going. You're not out of the fight yet. But you also have this energy of peace going on over here. So you're in this moment, in this future moment, the next 1 month, 6 months, or a year, looking at things in a way of, you fought your battles, you can still keep fighting because you're not done yet, water. That is one thing about you that people don't understand. When just because water's taking a pause does not mean that they're out of the warrior aspect, because water has a warrior as well. But with this one, it's saying don't get hyper jealous of other people that are coming in. You might have a new coworker, there could be a new person come into the friend group that wasn't your idea, or whatever it may be, and they're not there to steal your thunder. They might be a little annoying. You might have to remind them where they stand within your circle, but they're not a bad person. And that's what's coming up here, is your future is saying, coming to this understanding, and that ties a little bit into this of where you have to maybe tear down an aspect of the ego and allow yourself to be more open and aware of the higher aspects of yourself, the capital W will, the divine consciousness will, and see how that plays out for the future, because it's really showing you've went through a great deal, obviously, to get to the future you're at, showing that you have the metals, if you will, to say, no, I've done this, but I'm not out of this yet. I'm still capable, is what I'm getting for the future. So let's look at your inner world, your inner attitude. And here we have your inner warrior, water. The Knight of Cups. Told you there was a warrior coming. And the Knight of Cups as your inner world and your inner attitude is saying you're here to support those around you. The enemy might be around, but they're so far beneath you in reality that you don't have to worry about them. You're flying over the problem because you're emotionally mature enough. Cancer, this is something you can work on, because Cancer tends to be the baby of the water elements. But what this is really showing is that you are more than capable of dealing with challenges as they come up. So your tower is not going to be a trauma. It's more of, are you serious? I have to do this today? Fine. That type of a thing, because you know how to do it. That's your inner attitude. Your inner world is just, you can handle anything that is tossed at you. Any other element comes up against you and you're like, I got you, settle down. And that's what's going on, is you're carrying and supporting those around you. And you know this because you've already been through other things. You've been battle hardened, water, where you've had to deal with stuff. You've had to be the one that's kind of gotten kicked when you're down, but that's allowed you to show a different form of compassion and allows you to be more of a defender of those under you, like your if you're a supervisor, your employees underneath you, or the people in your circle who happen to be a little more weak. They're more the kind of the outcasts. You're going to be the more comforting and protecting aspect. So you're the bully of the bullies. So you keep the bullies at bay by bullying them back. So with that, we'll hop to your outside world, which is the environment you're around, the things outside of your control. And we still have this air energy, but this one's kind of air fire. It's the 9 of Swords. Again, there's some fire. You're working with swords energy. And this is saying the outside world is not exactly the most pleasant for water right now. This is a time of trials, a little bit of tribulation going on, and a lot of that comes into when water is at its most sensitive. It seems like the world becomes really aggressive and hostile, and that's what this is showing. But you're not done yet, because your past is, yes, I've been through battle and I have succeeded, and now don't want to do this again. So the outside world is challenging you, it's pushing you, and you're like, I don't want to go back to being that battle-hardened person. I don't want to pick up the sword and go after this again. I'm done. I'm tired. That's the energy that's coming in. It's influencing you. Again, this ties into your shadow. Shadow saying there's a tower moment coming, and the outside world is really trying to instigate that. They're poking at you. They're like, I know it's in there, and you're just like, dude, leave me alone. I don't want to bring that part up. So with your outer environment, this month is not going to be the easiest for you. March. Water, that's the one thing I'm wanting to emphasize here is you have a lot of fire, which is your opposite. You have a tower moment coming up with your shadow, meaning your shadow is bringing up something big that needs to be dealt with, and you don't want to. Your history is showing a great deal of, I had to pull away, I had to put up the blinders, I had to kind of pull into myself and not let people in so that you could do the inner work, and that's led you to being able to show others how to do stuff, to lead either spiritually or at work or however that plays for you. And that's brought you also into the state of, okay, I know this, but I have a great deal more I need to learn. How am I going to learn this? So you are seeking out that mentor energy. And your future is showing with that Seven of Swords that just because someone is new in the environment does not mean they're trying to steal your thunder. And that's where, yes, you still are able to go to battle if you need to, but you also have the badges of honor to say, I've already been through this, we're not doing this again. And that's a huge thing for our water family. So your hopes and fears, a little bit of escapism going on here, water, is the Seven of Cups. Your fear is that you're going to lose all of your dreams. Your fear is that you're going to make a misstep and it's going to crash everything that you've worked so hard to build. But the hope is, once you go through that tower moment and you get things cleared up, whatever your shadow's dragging up for you right now, the doors to the future are going to open up. Things are going to improve in a way that you didn't expect. And it doesn't mean you have to change a great deal. Sometimes it's just a mindset that needs to be flipped, and all of a sudden the door opens and you're like, that was it. But because the way the tower makes it feel, it's like scary and terrifying and, oh goodness, type of thing. But with your hopes, it's saying when you make the decision and you get clear on what it is you want, you do not want the outside world to tell you what to do in this aspect, water. You need to be the one that makes this decision for you. It's your soul here. And when you made that decision and you open it up, this is your hope. All of the dreams, all of the goals, all the ambitions fall into place for you. The fear is, if I make these moves because of other people's opinions, key phrase there, I'm going to lose things. And you might, because you're not doing it for you. And that's where the hopes is coming in, saying, make sure you're the one making this decision, because if you're not, this is not going to play out well. If you're the one making the decision, things are going to move a lot better, but you have to deal with that tower moment to be able to make these decisions. So, your overall outcome, another page, that's interesting, is the Page of Cups. Again, your energy here, and this is saying don't get distracted by the illusion of comfort. Don't get distracted by the illusion that everything's all right. No, we're fine. I don't have to worry. Put on that false face and you convince yourself that that's the real you, and then that tower pops up and just destroys that entirely. And that's what this energy is saying, is don't let that become the reality. Notice the illusion. If you need that to function through the day, great. But be truthful with yourself. The Page of Cups is really saying, when you understand this, the beauty and the power of who you are, water, is going to blossom and come to the surface. And that is something that you just cannot deny, or you don't want to push back against, because when you understand yourself fully, things become very amazing very quickly. And that's what this card is saying is your outcome. Is that you're ready for this next step. You just don't want to get trapped in the illusion of negativity, or the illusion of, no, everything's fine, I'll do that. Remember, you have to make these decisions this month for yourself, and if they don't work for you, that's not the best option, and that's where that fear aspect comes in. So to keep that at bay, you want to make sure you're clear and you deal with that tower moment and move forward from there. So the underlying theme for your reading, and this doesn't always come up, but for you guys it did, is the Four of Wands. This is a time of celebration. Your passions, your drive, the things that you really put your heart and soul into are actually coming into an alignment with you. That's why you want to make sure you're clear to yourself. You want to make sure you're ready for the next steps, whatever that may be. And you want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, because with that happening, the underlying theme here is stepping into success, stepping into celebration, stepping into this positive aspect of the hopes side, where this energy that's being offered to you right now is very celebratory when you do the work. So that's that's the part that may not be the most fun right there, is having to dive in and do that inner work sometimes is not pleasant, but for water, that's going to be the key. Your shadow's really pointing that tower moment out, saying, if you can do this, everything else opens up. But that tower needs to be sorted. So look at what's going on in your life. And when I say the tower moment, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? Because your shadow will bring forward things in the moment you're ready to deal with them, and it will not bring up things that you're not ready to deal with. So what is it you're not? What is the first thing that comes to mind, and how would you go about dealing with that situation? Is it going to therapy? Is it journaling? Is it acknowledging that that happened in the past and learning how to forgive and release it? Because the tower is something that you're going to need parts of this, but you don't need it all. And where it's at right now is not beneficial, so it needs to be torn down, rebuilt into something different, because the way it is in the moment does not work. So that's one of the ways to look at the tower. With that, we'll hop into your oracle cards. Like, comment, and subscribe if you are new here. How I like to do the oracle cards is we'll pull 3 cards. If you have a question, you can pause the video at any time and ask your question, then we'll hop into the cards. And otherwise, the cards may bring up more information about the reading. They may just bring up some message from source that needs to be brought out for water this month. So with that, we're going to hop into your first oracle card, which is number 34, Assessment. This is the merging of minds. This is the joining in a community. Water, you're over here, you're an Undine, but you also have the salamanders, you have the gnomes, and you have the sylphs floating around up here. So earth, air, fire, water. And this is where you come in to figure out what's going on. Where are we at? How are we doing? And this could be mind, body, spirit, where you're talking within yourself, with your higher self, with your shadow. You're getting clear on some things, sorting some things out. But this isn't so much about doing extra work. It's an assessment, figuring out where you're at. And with the Sire of Wands as your significator, saying you're ready to start this next journey, you have some knowledge, but you're needing a mentor, this could be coming to the awareness of who your mentor is. It could be a spiritual mentor, it could be a physical mentor, but this is where you're at, is you are getting called to assess the situation, figure out what's going on, who's all involved, who has what part to play, and you're not going to be able to answer all of that, just so we're clear. But get a baseline of where things are going, Water. That way when you start to see the pattern, because you will, that's when you'll start to know who's staying in, who might not be as important in this particular path on life, and what do I need to do as a Water to move forward with that journey. So your second card is number 33, big power number here. We have Nature's Beauty. Find a reason to gaze outside. Go to a park if you're in a city. If you're out in the country, go outside. Just watch the trees, watch the weather. If you're still in a place that has snow, watch the snow, watch the critters in the barnyard, whatever. But observe nature's beauty. Nature literally has beauty for everybody. Where I am in Idaho, a lot of people don't like it because it's sagebrush, but to me, it's really pretty. And when you see the different shades of sage as it grows through the year, these are all things that denote home to me. Then you can go out to the mountains where there's all sorts of pine trees, and there's deciduous trees, the ones that lose their leaves every year, and you can watch the cycle of life through the year by observing nature's beauty. There's something beautiful about a tree that's lost all of its leaves, and there's 4 feet of snow around it. Just like there's something beautiful about when it first starts to bud and it turns this bright yellowish green, full bloom or full foliage, and it's just this immaculate tree. Each aspect is a different form of beauty. So what this is saying is learn to appreciate the simple beauties in life. Learn to appreciate how life changes. As life changes, what's beautiful about each step? What's beautiful in each moment of your life? And this month of with the tarot is really calling you to observe and find the beauty in each situation. Even if you're dealing with that tower moment, you can look at it from the aspect of, this lesson is beautiful because I'm growing from it. So it's things like that where you can change your perspective a little bit and actually improve how you show up in the world. So, or how you observe the world. Either way. Your last card is number 54, and Tools. You can see this one as the Magician in the Standard Tarot. And what I'm hearing with this one is you have all the abilities you need, Water. You know how to deal with this tower moment. You know how to deal with the shadow and the higher self. You already know all this because you have the tools at your disposal. Prayer, meditation, if you are a Reiki practitioner or an energy worker of some form, if you have an alternative spiritual belief or a mainstream one, you have the tools at your disposal to deal with anything that comes up this month. This month may be a challenge, and it looks like it's going to be with all the fire running around here, which is your opposite, Water. but the outcome is water, your support system is water, and you also have a lot of air, which is intellectual clarity, because air is a friendly energy to water. So you have the support you need even when you're dealing with the more complex aspects of life. And don't be afraid to reach out, water. If someone, you need help with something, or if you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing and I don't know what direction to go, you've got enough network going on here, and that's what the tools are wanting to remind you of. Reach out and ask for the assistance. Reach out and ask for the advice. You don't have to follow it, but sometimes getting a different perspective can help clarify what you're looking at. So with that, I think that's all we've got here. I'll let you guys and gals go. Have a great month of March, and I will see you in the next video.